Okay, good morning class. So, before we start our discussion, let us pray first. So, please lead the prayer, Janelle. Class, do you have any idea what is our topic for today? So, our topic for today is the organs of the cardiovascular system. So, what part of your body knows when you are in love? Heart. Okay, so what comes into your mind if you heard the word cardiovascular? Okay, heart. Okay. So the objectives of this lesson is identify the parts of the human heart, draw the human heart, enjoy knowing the parts of the human heart. So the heart belongs to the cardiovascular system. Did you bring your materials? Because we will use it in our first activity. So, your first activity, you will draw a human heart in your drawing book individually with its part within 15 minutes and be creative. Okay, class, time's up. Finish or unfinished, you can finish it in your home, and I will collect it in our next meeting. And for our second activity, I will form you for 4 groups for brainstorming. Then you have only 5 minutes for brainstorming. Then after each group, we'll choose a representative to present the information that you cook up after brainstorming with your group mates in just 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, class, did you understand the instruction that I give you? Okay, very good. Okay, class, enough for the brainstorming, and you can present your presentation that you cook up from your group mates. So, whose group gonna volunteer first? Okay, no one. So, I will be the one choosing what group, who's gonna present first. So, let's start in the group 4. So, who is your representative? Okay, CK? Okay, Kay, I will give you the floor. Congratulations to all of you, class, because all of you got the highest score. For the third activity, we cannot proceed for it because what do you call this? We need to discuss about the heart first and watch short video clips about the heart so that we can proceed for the third activity. So again, what part of the body is this, Janelle? Okay, heart. So, what is the importance of our heart in our body? Please raise your hand if you want to answer. Okay, Kay. What is the importance of our heart? Okay, very good. The heart helps us to breathe. So, can someone give me or look at this picture and tell me the parts of the heart? Okay. Brian? Okay, thank you, Brian, for reading the parts of our heart. So let's proceed. So circulatory system. So what is circulatory system? Circulatory system, it is responsible in transporting materials throughout the entire body. It transports nutrients, water, and oxygen to the billions of body cells composing the multicellular body, heals and fights infections, and at the same time remove waste from them. So can you explain it, Fatima? Okay, thank you for that explanation, Fatima. That's right. Then, what is the two circulatory system? What is the two division of circulatory system? Please give me the answer. linear. Okay, the cardiovascular system and lymphatic system. So, the cardiovascular system is the one that transports blood, then lymphatic system is the one that transports the fluid called lymph. So, heart. What is heart? Can you read it, Alexa? Okay. Thank you, Alexa. So, the heart, it is the muscular organ that pumps blood to the different parts of the body. So, a heart though is the one that pumping the blood for us to flow the blood and the one that make us live today. Then, second is the pericardium. It is a thin sac that surrounds your heart. It protects and lubricates your heart and keeps it in place within your chest. So what do you mean by the sac? So sac is known as the pericardium encloses it. Sac is a pouch or cavity. So there are 3 layers of tissues form the walls of the heart. Could you give one tissues from the walls of the heart? Lovely. Okay, the epicardium. So epicardium is the outer layer. It is the inner part of the pericardium that is closely stick to the heart. Then the second one is the myocardium. It is the middle layer. It is the middle muscular part that is composed of cardiac muscle tissue. Then third is the endocardium. It is the inner layer. It is the thin layer of tissue that lines the muscles of the heart. Okay, Jade, explain the 3 tissues of the walls of the heart. The difference of the 3. Okay, thank you for that, Jade. That's right. So, pericardial cavity. It is filled with pericardial fluid. As you can see, here is the endocardium, then the epicardium, then the pericardial space, which is the pericardial fluids. Here is the pericardial fluids. That is the part of pericardial. So again, the endocardium, myocardium, then the epicardium, then the pericardial, that the fluid stays. Okay, next. So, what is the 4 chambers of our heart? So, the 4 chambers of our heart is the right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Don't forget that 4 chambers because if wala ang isa, dili maka-function atong heart. So, septum. Ang septum, it divides the heart into 4 chambers. So, what do you call the muscle that divides our heart? It's called septum. Very good. So, atria. Can you read it, Lenage? Okay, thank you. So, atria are the receiving chambers of the heart. So, this is a thin wall. So, ang atria daw is receiving chamber. So, ang sulod sa atria is the right atrium and left atrium from the word atria and atrium. So, nabilong ang duha sa atria. So, right atrium, ang iyang function, it receives poor oxygen blood from vena cava. So, nag-receive of blood through vena cava. So, what do you mean by vena cava? Oh, vena cava is a large vein. Kinsa may wala na kaila og vein dere. Kaila tanan. Ugat. So, left atrium, it receives blood from pulmonary veins. Kung si right atrium nag-receives of blood sa vena cava, ang left atrium is receive blood from pulmonary veins. So, that is the difference of right atrium and left atrium. Then, ventricles. It is the pumping chambers force blood out the heart. These chambers are thick-walled. So, kung ang atria kay pumping receiving chambers, the ventricle is pumping chambers and thick walls, yeah, while the atria is thin walled. Then, ang nabilang sa ventricles is the right ventricle and left ventricle. So, right ventricle, it pumps blood to the lungs for oxygenation. So, it pumps blood from lungs para oxygenation. Left ventricle, it pumps. So, by the way, could someone explain what is oxygenation? Okay, please stand, Ronaldin. Okay, oxygenation. Moto siya oxygenation. Thank you for that, Ronaldin. So, let's move on to left ventricle. It pumps oxygen-rich blood to all parts of the body. So, ang left ventricle, kaya mo ay nag-pump sa blood para sa parts sa atong body. That's why we live. Okay. So, each chamber is required to generate in order to bring blood toward their destination. Okay. The valves of the heart. So, what do you mean by valves, Alia? Okay, thank you for that, Alia. That's right. So, let's move on to the atrioventricular valves and pulmonary valves. So, these two, it works to ensure the blood will move only in one direction. So, what do you mean by moving one direction? So, usare agianan. Thank you. So, next is the atrioventricular valves or cuspid valves. It is located between the atria and ventricles. Semilunar valves, it is located at the bases of the large vessels, leaving the ventricles. So, atrioventricular valve is called tricuspid valve. Then, left atrioventricular valve is the bicuspid or mitral valve. So, pulmonary semilunar valve, it is the valve between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery, while the aortic semilunar valve, it is the valve between the left ventricles and the aorta. So, can you please explain this pulmonary semilunar valve and aortic semilunar valve, Jay? Okay, thank you for that, Jay. That's right. Thank you for that. I need another answer. Okay. Lily, please stand, Lily, and explain the two. Okay, that's right, Lily. Did you study? Oh, very good. Okay, the blood vessels in the heart. So, blood vessel, it is connected to the heart. It is the network of channel that convey blood to all parts of the body. It is like the one supporting the cells of all our body. Ang blood vessels. Then, again, what is the vena cava? Okay, vena cava is the largest vein that is connected to the heart. Vena cava is divided into two. So, what is the two vena cava mia? Okay, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Then, pulmonary artery. It conveys blood pumped by the right ventricle to the lungs for oxygenation. Then the pulmonary veins, it conveys oxygen-rich blood back to the left atrium of the heart. So, ang pulmonary artery kay it pumps blood to the right ventricle to the lungs, while the pulmonary veins kay nag-convey of oxygen to back para mubalik sa the left atrium of the heart. So, this is the aorta, left pulmonary artery, left atrium, left pulmonary veins, left ventricle, right ventricle, inferior vena cava, here it is, then the superior vena cava, it is likely they are connected, then right pulmonary veins. That is the blood vessel structure. Okay, next. So blood vessels are classified into three. So give me the three classification of blood vessels, Diana. Okay, it carry oxygen and nutrients away from your heart to your body's tissue. Thank you for that, Ariana, for that explanation. So, what do you mean by arterioles? So, arterioles is it is the smallest arterial vessels. Then, so the arterial walls consist of 3 layers of tissue. So please give me the 3 layers of tissue of arterial walls. Okay, the tunica externa, tunica media, and the tunica intima. So it provides the basic structural support to the blood vessels, which is ang tunica externa, while the tunica media, it is primarily smooth muscle and it is usually the thickest layer. It is the one that supports the entire blood vessels, which is the tunica media, while the last one is the tunica intima. It allows fluid to flow smoothly and are interspersed with valves that ensures the flow continues in one direction. Okay, this is the structure of the artery wall. So, tunica externa here, tunica media, tunica intima, and the basement membrane. Next, the structure of vein. So, unsa gayto ang kanang vein gani? Ugat. Sa may wakay ugat dire. Kaila day tanan di ay. So, tunica externa, they have the same what do you call this, layer, but the difference is walay venous valve o endothelium, but they are still the same. So, vein. Please explain the vein, Dane. Okay, thank you for that wonderful explanation, Dane. So that's right. So I will proceed to venules. So what do you mean by venules? So venules is the smallest vein. Remember that. Kung ang vena cava is the largest vein, then while the venules is the smallest vein. So vein composed of 3 layers of tissue. Daghan kay tag layers diri no. 3. Lahi na sad ni. Pero the same ra gihapon na lay difference gamay. So vein, the 3 layers of tissue of vein is the tunica adventitia. It provides a limiting barrier protecting the vessels from overexpansion. So sabotable, it is very sabotable. So I will proceed to tunica media. Compared to an artery, the vein has thinner tunica. So compared ko na sa artery nga layer of tissue, kay ang vein kay naay pinaka-nipis nga tunica. Then the tunica intima, it allows fluid to flow smoothly and are so the same rasa isa unsa ganito ang isa gani sa tunica intima sa artery, while kato kay sa vein. So maura ang layer tissue sa vein nga tunica intima o tunica intima sa artery, they are the same. Remember that. Then capillaries. So what is capillaries? It is where oxygen and nutrients are exchanged for carbon dioxide and waste. Please explain, Leah. Okay, that's right, Leah. Then next, let me show you this picture. So as you can see, this is the vein while this is the artery. If you can see, they have inner layer, middle layer, outer layer, and the vein has a valve. Then the vein has a venule, while the capillary, it is the one connecting the artery and the vein. So arterial is here. So that is their difference. They have a little difference. So remember the difference of the arteries, veins, and capillaries. So can you give me the difference of these 3 and some similarities? Johanna. Okay, Johanna, please stand. Okay, I need another answer. Okay, Jessa. Okay, Jessa. Thank you because you really got the answer. So, three types of blood vessel is the arteries, veins, and capillaries. So arteries carry blood away from your heart and veins carry blood back towards to your heart, while the capillaries is the smallest blood vessels connect arteries and veins. Mo to siya ang difference kato like what I show you the picture rather. So let's watch these videos. So we already done discussing and watching the video, so we can proceed to the next activity, which is the wait a minute. With the same group you had during the brainstorming, you will present the 4 chambers of the heart and give a brief explanation of each part and provide proofs in justifying your explanation. The first group will focusing on the right atrium, the second group will focusing on the left atrium, then the third group will focusing on the right ventricle, while the last group will be focusing on the left ventricle, but you will present it next meeting. That is your assignment. So again, before we end our class, I have a question for you. So Rovern is walking around in the park. Suddenly she saw Jadessa crying while sitting in the bench alone. What will Rovern feel for Jadessa? Okay, sad. So if you are sad, asa man nimo asa part sa imong body that mo feel niya nga sad siya. Okay, the heart. So number 2, Chrysostoma is a badminton player and he will play the Palarong Pambansa first week of May. What do you think Chrysostoma's feeling right now? Tense? Excited? Mura, wanilain? So all that emotions, where does it come from? So it comes from our heart. Very good. The grade 12 students will have their final exam after 30 minutes. What will be the feelings of all grade 12 students who are not ready for their final exam? Oh, masad. Oh, sad sila kay wala sila nagtuon parehas ninyo. Oh, asa man lagi ka ng mga sad ta? Sa heart gihapon. Very good. So, for your assessment, your favorite part. So, the task 1 is modified true or false direction. Write true in a caps lock form if the statement is true, and if false, write letter F in a caps lock form and mark X the wrong word that makes the statement false, then change it with the correct word. Example, this one. Vein composed 2 layers of tissues. True di ay. So, dili. False ya. So, magbutang type letter F there, which is capital. Then, what do you call this? Write an X here in the 2. Wala man sa atuang dire. Then, put the 3 at the top. Then, inanaon ang atong true or false. So, please answer this one. I will give you 5 minutes. Okay. Mana. Waring na tayo sa second na to nga type of with matching type. So, direction. Column A contain list of the parts of the heart, and column B is the list of the functions of each parts of the heart. Match column A to the preferred function in column B. I will give you again 5 minutes for you to answer. Okay. Mana. Finish or unfinished. Then the third one is the single word analogy. We already do this type of test last week. So you already know how to answer it. I will give you 5 minutes again. So finish or unfinished, please pass your paper in front of you, then give it to me. So for your assignment, draw a lungs and identify the parts. So don't forget that your first activity, you will pass it next meeting, and this one, your assignment, you will pass it to me next meeting too. Then we will end our class we will end our class today. Thank you, and God bless us all. Thank you for listening. I hope you understand me for our lesson today. Then before we end this, or before I go, I want to share with you this quote. Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another, by G.K. Chesterton. Thank you. Bye, class.